Hi everyone, welcome to Code Kamkaji. I hope everybody are doing good. Today's video we will be discussing about another concept in GitHub Actions playlist, and it is going to be another concept especially for file changes and all. So stay tuned till this video, and if you like my explanation, I request you to like and share, subscribe to Code Kamkaji. So in this video we are going to discuss about one of the keyword in GitHub Actions called as a paths. So we'll discuss what exactly mean by path and what exactly it is going to useful and in what situation it is going to useful for our workflows in our GitHub Actions. So paths in GitHub Actions like run a workflow only when changes are made to the specific files or folders. What does it mean? So changes made to specific files or folders. Imagine you may have requirement or you may get the requirement from your team that your pipeline has to start or your pipeline has to run whenever there is a commit on a specific file or a specific folder. So usually GitHub Actions get triggered when in the entire repository wherever you have given a single commit on a target branch. So the GitHub Actions will run the pipeline based on that commit. But you don't want to do that. You would like to do a run of GitHub Actions workflow only a commit made into a specific file or a specific directory or a specific path. So that's where we use the paths. I mean GitHub paths. So imagine this is our very common GitHub workflow that we have been discussing since days. But if you carefully observe here, we have the paths. So here I have a specified two paths. One is src and the wildcard inside of it, and another one is requirements.txt. So this is the file inside of the folder, and this is the file. So what happened if I add these two into my GitHub Actions YAML file? So whenever I made a commit, instead of this sre directory of any file, it can be file one, file two, any file, or if I made a commit instead of this requirement.txt, the pipeline will run only whenever we made a commit. If you don't make any commit until unless on those two files or folders, the pipeline won't run. If you made a commit on any other files or any other folders, your pipeline cannot run, or GitHub Action just ignores, because you have specifically mentioned, hey GitHub Actions, you have to run a CI/CD pipeline. I mean, you call it as a workflow in GitHub Actions. Whenever there is a commit on those two cases, one is a requirement.txt file, or another one is the file instead of SRE directory. So it can be SRC directory, it can be any directory. In your case, you can add anyone. So that's what the use case of GitHub paths. So what it is does, you are going to tell GitHub saying that, hey, if there is a commit on specific files or directory, just trigger a pipeline. If you don't find any new commits on this file or directory, don't run any workflows. That's what it is. So let's jump into the implementation. So here I have created one file change repository. I have src requirement.txt and multiple files. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this YAML file into my GitHub Actions. Dot GitHub / workflows / I'll give a what I will do, I'll give a paths dot YAML. Okay, I'll paste over here. Now I'm going to, I've just added the workflow YAML file over here. If there is a commit on these two, one is a directory, another one is a file, create a pipeline. Otherwise, don't do anything. Don't run any YAML files, or don't run any workflows, don't run any executions. So I'll make a commit over here. Commit changes. I'm committing into main branch directly. So if I go to actions, I don't see any pipeline over here. Okay. But what I will do, I will come into file change and I'll make one small commit into requirements.txt. So I'll do new commit 1. So once I make a commit on this requirement.txt, it will trigger a new pipeline. Refresh this page. If you see here, we have the workflow has been triggered, and now it is building. It's just a dummy build. Just check out the code and finish it off his job. Okay. And first case is done. So as per our YAML file, let me go to YAML file over here. So pass.yaml. So first case is done, which means like whenever you made a new commit into requirement.txt, it will create the workflow, it will run the pipeline. The second one is src directory and inside any file. So what I will do, I'll go to src, and here I have a file.txt. So what I will do, I will create a new file. So it can be a new file or creation or new commit, anything. I'll add a new file.txt. I'll say that commit 1. So whenever I do a commit instead of this src file, so here src directory inside we have these files, right? So it will create a pipeline or workflow. See, create a new file.txt, and based on the commit, it ran it, and it finished off the workflow. So what I will do, instead of this src and requirement.txt, I'll make a commit on this code.txt. I mean another file, which is not inside of the radar. This is the radar, like src directory and requirement.txt. So it is out of radar, right? So what I will do, I'll make a commit here. New commit 1. So now I'm making commit on code.txt, which is not, we haven't specified in the part, so it won't create a new pipeline. So we have committed it, right? So come to here, go to actions. So we cannot see any new pipeline. Even if I refresh it, you cannot find any new pipeline or new workflow has been run. So the last pipeline was ran 1 minute ago. Okay. And now what I will do, not only code.txt, I'll go to dependencies.txt. Again, I'll make a commit here. This is empty file. I just made a new commit. Okay. 2. I'll make a commit into this file. So since this is not in the radar of path, like dependency.txt, which is not under the radar of path, so it won't create any new pipeline. I'll come here, I'll refresh the actions. See, you cannot find any new workflow has been run. Okay. So I hope it is make you understandable what exactly mean by paths. So how it is resolving such issues, which means like you don't want to run a new pipeline and every commit on a specific file. So if you want to run a pipeline, only a commit happen into the specific directory or a specific file, that situation you can take advantage of this path, and you can happily run your pipeline. So it is going to save your cost, and it is going to save the workflow runs, and it's going to useful a lot into the real time. So I hope it is makes sense to understand. I hope you enjoy this lecture about the paths in GitHub Actions. So if you like my explanation, I request you to like, share, subscribe to Code Kamkaji, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.